Hello everyone! In this video we take a look at where Drogon took Daenerys' body after he melted the Iron Throne. Daenerys Targaryen knew what she was doing when she entered Khal Drogo's pyre in Game of Thrones, Season 1, Episode 10, Fire and Blood. She'd commanded the 3 dragon eggs that she'd received as a wedding gift to be left with Drogo. Although Jorah Mormont tried to dissuade Daenerys, nothing would stop her from bringing 3 dragons into the world. Daenerys stepped into the fire as Khal Drogo's widow, engulfed in the grief of losing their baby boy, and rose from the ashes as the mother of dragons, with the hatchling Drogon on her shoulder. As Daenerys' dragons grew in size, they traveled throughout Essos and later Westeros. While she loved all her children equally, Drogon was the one she rode, and he outlived the lot, as per the events of Game of Thrones. Daenerys and her children were a force to be reckoned with. Before setting sail to Westeros with her great armies and breathtaking armada, she'd built an empire out of love for the commoners she swore to protect. But empires eventually come to an end, and Daenerys' did too. She lost Viserion beyond the wall in the titular Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 6, while attempting to rescue Jon Snow and his party. Viserion became an ice dragon and the Night King's mount. As for Rhaegal, Euron Greyjoy took him out using his scorpion bolts. With 2 out of 3 dragons dead, Drogon and Daenerys were unable to recover from their grief by the onset of the Battle of King's Landing. Daenerys was killed in the throne room by Jon Snow in Game of Thrones. She collapsed as a character, her descent into madness proceeded badly, and there are questions she left unanswered in the final episode of Game of Thrones. Firstly, the assassination of Daenerys Targaryen raises the question of where Drogon took her body, and secondly, what happened to the Mourning Dragon? To answer these questions, we need to look back at the chaotic closing events of Game of Thrones. Daenerys was vindictive and ferocious after losing Ser Jorah, Rhaegal, and Missandei. Since the love of her subjects always drove her to action, she was in an utter state of dejection upon realizing she had no love in Westeros. Her relationship with Jon took a nosedive. Varys' betrayal prompted her to command Drogon to burn him alive. Alienated and furious at the emotional and human cost of the war, she snapped when she heard the bells of surrender ring in Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 5, The Bells. The capital of Westeros and the 7 Kingdoms, King's Landing had fallen easily, but what of Daenerys' wrath? She unleashed it on the innocents, and stopped only when Drogon's fire torched King's Landing to the ground. Unstable and corrupted by power, Jon realized she was beyond help and plunged a dagger into her heart. In the closing moments of Game of Thrones, Samwell Tarly informed Bran Stark's small council that Drogon was last spotted flying east towards Volant. Before Sam could finish the rest of his sentence, Ser Bronn of the Blackwater cut him off, saying, "The farther away, the better." This information leads to the strong possibility of Drogon flying off to Volantis, with the hope that the High Priestess, Kinvara of the Red Temple, resurrects his mother somehow. Later, showrunners David Benioff and Dan Weiss provided information about Drogon and Daenerys in the Game of Thrones series finale DVD commentary, titled, "Duty is the Death of Love." Benioff and Weiss confirmed that Drogon carried off Daenerys across the sea and that the dragon was headed towards Volantis. While the Game of Thrones ending left Drogon's fate up in the air, the dragon is grieving the death of his mother and brothers. There's still hope that King Bran was able to find his whereabouts, just as he told his small council he would. "Perhaps I can find him. Do carry on with the rest," remarked Bran, leaving his counselors in awkward silence. While Drogon is alone, given how smart the serpentine beast is, it's highly unlikely he'll go on a rampage. Therefore, Ser Bronn of the Blackwater has nothing to fear. Don't forget to like the video to be informed about such developments. See you in the next video.